this ID. Steal 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 this ID.
How are you at remembering birthdays?
Oh my gosh, it's actually real. It's probably one of the worst traits about me as a human being is like, if you be like, what did you order your parents' birthdays? I'm like, freak. Like, I remember my birthday and my wife's birthday, my kids' birthdays, but like for whatever reason, my siblings' birthdays, it's like they all just escape me, and I am horrible at it.
I'm okay I am okay in theory at remembering them. I know my parents' birthdays, I know my siblings' birthdays, but
Like a
I
normal
don't know
person. Yeah, I know.
my friends' birthdays. And that always kind of stresses me out, which means that rather than like do the sane thing, which is like put them on the calendar so that you don't have to think about them, instead of doing that, I put myself on the hook to just like frequently check like whose birthday is coming up. So it's like I just
You
missed
just log
one
into
of my
Facebook really quick and just see.
literally, this is what I do, Scott. This is how stupid it is I go to my iMessage and I just search birthday, and then I go find the last time that I wished them happy birthday, and I'm like, okay, that must be their birthday. Just do that endlessly.
Yeah.
I say this only because I forgot like one of my best friend's birthdays yesterday.
Yeah.
And I also said this, which is like, everybody needs to know that friend birthdays are a collective group effort. Like,
yeah.
among 10 people, one of us has to remember everybody's birthday.
If somebody's on the hook to be like, hey, everybody remember, it's so-and-so's birthday.
Exactly. And I've been that person. I've been the person that was like, just so you know, it's Scott's birthday. But
maybe we'll code something that is, it searches through your text messages and it says, okay, here's every time the birthday's been mentioned, and then it just texts you, it's like, hey, just so you know, a year ago you mentioned this person happy birthday. So it might be their birthday today.
the thing is, like, at one time you could have used Facebook for like every birthday in your life, but not anymore. Like,
It's real hit or miss.
I have a lot of friends that certainly like my coworkers of the last 10 years, I'm not friends with on Facebook.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, should we start a podcast, Andre?
sure.
You're a thief and a liar.
I only lied about being a thief.
Steal.
Lie.
We're gonna steal the ship.
Commandant, nautical tank.
An idea that is fully formed, fully understood, that sticks.
Will someone like you just steal?
Ideas are bulletproof.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
Steal this idea.
Hello again, thieves.
Hi.
We're back.
With the Steal This Idea podcast, the only podcast where every single week,
We changed it to every episode.
every downloaded file contains at least one business idea.
$1 million business idea for you to steal.
That's right.
And we got a
For
good
free.
episode today. Last week, we brought the pod back. I mean, we got flooded with an overwhelming sensation. People were just kissing their children like, you know, a famine had ended.
People in this rioted or celebrated in the streets.
Yeah, you know
Some
those
people
moments.
rioted.
You know, like that Caitlyn Jenner moment where like she gives the police officer the can of Pepsi, and like the crowd
and heals the world.
and heals the world. Kind of.
I will say that's not Caitlyn Jenner. I think that was Kylie Jenner.
I think you're right. As
I
the
think
resident,
it wasn't Caitlyn Jenner.
that's the resident Jenner expert.
But yeah, we healed the world with Steal This Idea. The
That's right.
problems that there were 3 weeks ago have evaporated.
And we got a good episode because Andre's bringing the big idea this week, so we're going to unpack that. We teased this last week, but for the thieves, this has been something that we've wanted since day one, which is an online repository of every idea. Sometimes it's like, oh, what was that one idea we had? And not just like hey, here's a list of them, but we have painstakingly, we leveraged one of our good friends, Mr. Claude, and he helped us build a website for it's 94 ideas. And so if you ever remember, if there was a particular episode where you wanted like, oh yeah, that one, you could see a landing page, some images that kind of show what it looks like. And then some of them have little like business case studies that speak about the market. So, I mean, the now more than ever, your ability to steal an idea, it's like we're just serving it up on a platter for you.
So true. I'll say Scott is being, I think, tremendously modest, which is that Scott really did most/all of the work on putting together the new site. And really, like, Thieves, I cannot recommend it enough. If you're listening to this on your commute into work, if you're listening to this and you're sitting around, if you're at the gym, whatever, get to a place where you can look at a website and do scroll through these ideas, because to see them like sort of come to life with images and web pages and like actually seeing the idea for real takes the podcast to like a whole nother level.
It makes it a little more magic.
Go steal this idea.
And so that's got all the links to the shows that, you know, every website's linked. You can sort them by A to Z or newest to oldest. And so that has been fun going to some of the first couple ideas and, you know, getting a nice little visual imagination of there. And, you know, again, I think sometimes seeing a little visual is like, aha, I feel like I was able to kind of dump my brain into this a little bit and kind of showcase what, at least the way I saw some of these.
It's a good way to get inspired. Frankly, it's like, even if you, maybe the right idea hasn't hit your ears yet from Steal This Idea, scroll this site just to get those entrepreneurial vibes going.
Right. Now we're going to hop into the site in a little bit. But before we do that, we're going to hop into everyone's favorite segment, Good Idea, a Bad Idea.
Good idea. Good idea. Bad. Good idea. Bad idea. Good idea.
Now, last week, Andre was the one bringing the good idea, bad ideas, but we flipped it. So I'm going to be the one bringing the good idea, bad ideas. This first one here, Andre, I would be shocked if you hadn't gotten this ad 600 times before. It is clothing.
Oh my God, Scott. Like, okay, tell your story, but then just ready yourself. Ready yourself.
I'm sure the thieves have also gotten this ad. This is for a clothing apparel online brand called Comfort, COMFRT. And the way that this is positioned, at least on my Instagram ad, was it's a nice cozy sweatshirt. It's got a zipper on the sleeve for your passport, a zipper on the other side for your wallet, and then, you know, built-in an eye mask that kind of comes down from under where the hoodie is. And it certainly does look extremely comfortable. I was thinking about our, you know, last week's episode, Soft. This is a perfect example of like, I think it's soft, but I don't actually know. Like it's positioning itself as like, this is soft, it's comfortable, right? But I could see me getting this and being like, this is just as soft as anything. I just don't know, right? But then it kind of got me thinking, like, is it a good idea to have essentially loungewear that is, for the most part, single use of like, this is the thing you wear when you travel? And so I want to get your brain on, is this a good idea or is this a bad idea?
So what I'll say at the outset is it's only crazy because here we are filming this podcast on a Monday, and just last night, and my partner, fiance, whatever, he is like so not an e-commerce shopper. Like, I think that he just doesn't engage like that. But just last night, he sent me a link to this site, which I had never seen. It sort of to contrast what you were saying, that I must have seen this ad before. I had never seen this before. He sent this to me last night, and he actually bought these for a trip that we're going on here at the beginning of April. So I have one of these coming to me as we speak.
So
what I will
say
say is, like, I am a pretty good plane sleeper. So to put this in your brain, Thieves, you put the hood up, and then the eye mask comes down from the hood. What's hard about that for me is my head gets really hot. So I can't really have a hood on for 3 hours, 4 hours. So that's my like,
you gotta have
on this.
Both or neither, it sounds like.
Yeah. But on the other hand, like, I do kind of like the idea of sort of a travel uniform, like not needing to think about what you wear for a trip, thing that you wear every time. I like that big time.
I kind of do it a little bit where I'm like, I usually wear this one particular set of sweats that are like, they are casual enough, but also like with the right top could not be, you know, they're kind of a Lululemon type thing. Mm-hmm. These look like very comfy, like to a, you know, like a late movie type of like lounging. And some people travel that way. You know, I think a lot of people, it's like, you want to get as dressed down as possible. Sometimes I feel like when I travel, it's usually for work, and like half the time I'm like getting off the plane and going to a conference area where it's like, it would be, I would feel, it's like if I could run into my boss in the lobby and I'm like, dressed like a total scrum.
My perspective on people, there are people who I think go far too casual for plane travel, as if there's no possibility at all that they could run into anybody that they know. When I frequently run into somebody I know while traveling.
Yeah.
So therefore it's like,
like all over the place.
But I do think these aren't necessarily like total slouch wear.
No, it does look good. Like it's not like, grime. It's Marvin the Martian pajamas from Walmart.
Exactly.
Like that.
Exactly.
I saw this and I'm like, I could see it being the thing where maybe we think I'll use the head mask, but it's maybe I don't. And it's like this signature hoodie I'm looking at here is $39, and I'm like, that's how it's like. Well, it can't be that soft if it's that cheap. You know?
That's kind of my reaction to it. I wasn't sure if you were going to say $39. That's crazy.
No,
where it's like in this economy, $39 means cheap and bad, which is sad. I know.
Yeah, like to me, it's like the softest hoodie ever should be like $70.
Mm-hmm. $70 is a good price for a good hoodie, for like a lifelong sort of hoodie. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll know soon enough.
I want to know what you guys think. Like, are you guys a dress down all the way? Is this something you would like pull the trigger 100%, or would you just as soon go to your favorite? Just buy a regular hoodie is a known quantity and just, it's like I have too many sweatpants as is. Do I need another just single use loungewear? I don't know.
So true.
All right, Andre, this next one, I'm real interested to see your thoughts on. This is much different than that. This is something that I want for a very specific use case. So this is buttoncomputer.com. I saw this on Twitter. It's Y Combinator backed, which I feel like used to mean something a little bit stronger. A couple of years ago. It's kind of lost its luster a little bit. What this is effectively a chat with AI, but it's on a little button. It's like the size of silver dollar, or like, half the size of a Tic Tac box, something like that. And the idea here is, unlike some of these ones where like it's just kind of like a floating thing that listens to you and like interacts with your phone, this is like more like a really small Alexa that you would like carry around with you and like ask it questions, right? Now, the reason that I want this is actually not for me at all. It's for my kids. I have I love the idea. Like what I like a lot about AI is, I did this last night with my kids. Like, Dad, who'd win in a race, a rhino or a hippo? Dad, who'd win in a race, a peregrine falcon or a golden eagle, right? And an endless number of questions, right? If I go downstairs and I ask my Google Home that question, it's like, I don't know. Here's a website that tells me, here's animaltracker.com. And it's like, this is like the worst possible thing, right? And I don't want to give him my phone and I don't want to give him a tablet, right? And it's truly bizarre to me that like, even now, there isn't just like the Alexa pod that's just a straight Chat GPT or straight Claude or whatever, right? Like I know it's coming, but it's weird. Anyway, this is the first time I'm like, yes, this is what I want. I want something, a little device my kids can walk up to, hold the button down and be like, what is this? And it says, oh, good question. It's this. And that's it. There's no screen. There's nothing else. So it's not being marketed as a kid's device. Obviously, it's being marketed as like, you could ask it questions while you're reading and like, it's private by design. It's adults using this or whatever. But want to know your thoughts on this, Andre.
Well, I mean, if you're keyed into the AI wearable space, then surely you remember the Humane pin.
Yes.
Which like historically crashed and burned miserably. These, if you're not aware, like right when AI was really just barely getting its feet under it, I also think it was maybe Y Combinator backed. I don't remember. There was a pretty well-funded startup that had tried to do an AI pin that you would wear. Now that project was way, way more ambitious because they were trying to like have a projector where you would sort of like use it almost like a computer.
It would like broadcast onto your hand. You could like do stuff. Mm-hmm. It had a camera. It's like looking around.
Yeah, they were trying to do a lot. This is trying to do, essentially what...
And by the way, the
Alexa
Humane was
based.
$700 and $25 a month. This was $149.
Somewhere in there. Yeah, I mean, it's like pretty realistically priced. I think, frankly, the solution for me, the next AI product that I will buy will be something that does it in the same fashion as Alexa. Like, that's what I want more than anything, is the ability to just say, here's my question, please answer it, and not need to touch anything, do anything, whatever. But I think that maybe that's because I don't frequently find that I'm out in the world seeing something and wanting to ask AI about it. I usually am just at home. But I think that there is a market for something like this that maybe is just for kids, right? That like has the guardrails built in, so it doesn't do your
I've
things.
looked around. I'm like, is there anything? Like, it's crazy to me, right? And I've seen a couple like, home kit stuff, dev kit stuff. People are like kind of making stuff right now. They're like trying to make it, but there's nothing that's made. There isn't like a single point solution. It's weird to me that like we're several years in and it's like, it's not the most complicated thing, but like for whatever reason, like no one has got it figured out yet. This is the first time I'm like, oh, maybe they've got it figured out. So I bought it because I want to try it. I don't know when, I have no idea when they'll ship it to me.
Might be waiting.
I'm sure that I will.
At all, like who's behind this, or did you just take a leap of faith?
I took a leap of faith here, and I kind of figured like, listen, Y Combinator is not known for crap, and it's cheap enough that it's like, if it
crashes,
I'm not putting $1,000 to reserve a robot or whatever, or like some of these, like it's $150 or whatever it was. And I think that like, if it works the way I intended, even if it's like super gated where it's like, hey, you can only ask 100 questions a day. It's like, great. That's even better in some ways.
For sure. No, I think this is a good concept. Would I personally buy it? No, only because I don't like this pin concept. That just like doesn't do it for me. Yeah. I think if not like an Alexa, I could eventually get into like AI glasses.
Yeah, I do think it's anyway. A table device, a family room device of like, hey chat, what's this? And it's just like, oh, it's this, and like it's more analog in that way. I think that everyone is craving analog everything right now. Like all this closed loop end in sight, or whatever, like fixed things are coming back. So I just think it's a matter of time.
I hear ya.
Okay, now before we get into your big idea, Andre, we talked about the website, gostealthisidea.com. I want to do something fun. Again, 93, 94, soon to be 95 ideas on here. I wanted to have each of us pick an idea from the past and see if it still has any legs on it. See if it's like, no, this is still a good idea, or if like, what were we thinking? So I want to start with you. What's an idea that as you scrolled through these popped up and you're like, oh yeah?
I have one that I really like only because I was wrong. There is one that I was like glaringly wrong on, and I took a very hard stance at the time, and since have learned that my whole thought process was incorrect. And the idea was Drop Stop, which I don't know if you remember this, but this was an idea where essentially you would franchise like a small storage space where you could go and drop off your luggage in order to explore the city.
Downtown Nashville, downtown New York, or wherever.
And I hated on it and said, well, like you can do this at near any hotel and they don't really check that you're actually staying there. Not because I would ever do anything like unethical like that, but more just that you can just go to your hotel and drop off your bag. And even if you can't do that, you could probably drop off a single bag every once in a while at a hotel you're not staying at.
This was before you were living in the big city.
Yeah, this was when I was still in Salt Lake. I have since moved to New York City. And there is like a very popular, I can't think of the name of it, frankly, because it's just such a hole in the wall place. And it's usually combined with a business, right? Like a 7-Eleven, the same kind of place that might have an Amazon locker will have these places where you can go and just drop off your luggage. And they're like around Times Square, they're around places where people are frequently just wanting to drop things off. Not even to mention just how frequently in New York you see people just lugging luggage around. And I think frequently that they maybe aren't going anywhere in particular and maybe just like are waiting to check into their hotel or waiting to get to the next spot. Drop Stop, I think, is a good idea. And even what we have now in New York, like I said, I couldn't even tell you the name. So I do think that there's room to build something better than what they have, probably with like a locker system, something automated. because I'm pretty much positive that the places that do it here are not lockers. It's like you go and talk to the person who works at the deli or whatever and say, I want to use the luggage service.
Oh, interesting.
So it could for sure be touchless. And I haven't seen anything like that. And I think there's an opportunity to add like other travel essentials. I do think this actually is a good idea.
The way that looking back on this idea is, to me, you have a couple things in motion. So one, the actual square footage that you need to run is actually pretty small. And yeah, touchless I think is huge, where it's like you don't have to hire anybody really, like one person to make sure, to check on a bunch of them or whatever. But you can imagine you go up and it's like for $15 or $10 or whatever, you figure out the right price. You tap, it opens up locker 15, you put all your crap in there, you close it. Or maybe it's kind of like a Lime scooter type of thing where it's just like, yeah, put it in right now. The first hour's free, and it's like be out as long as you want, right? There's probably like a pretty smart business model there. But then it's like, yeah, you have a vending machine there that's like stocked where it's like, it's got water and it's got maps and it's got, whatever. And then I think we talked about making it a destination spot for like, it's really close to like walk on, walk off bus tours. And there's always somebody on one of those little like ride you around the city bikes, that they can, whatever. Right. And so like, I think it becomes this really easy place where it's like, oh, here's like a really good destination. It's close to all this stuff. And it doesn't actually have to be in the prime real estate. It can just be near the prime real estate because all you're doing is dropping your stuff off there. So it doesn't have to be in the middle of Times Square. It just has to be like a street over,
The real estate play, like where you can put it and the fact that it can fit into like all these weird shaped footprints. And I think like here, especially, I feel like I see all the time places that are unused simply because of like zoning requirements, meaning like this is a spot where the only thing, like it's not zoned to be a restaurant.
It can't be food.
Or it's not zoned to be a store. It's not zoned for all these different things. And I think that, a lot of businesses like this could work really well in that format.
Well, I have a bunch that I was looking back at that I was like, oh, good one. I mean, there's a couple. There's one, I can't remember, Timeline AI, I think it was like, might have been the worst idea on here. It was just
mine?
Yeah, it was just like,
oh no,
AI-powered project management intelligence.
It's a good idea. I don't
it's not
really
actually
agree.
about it. It's just like, it was like the most like lame, like, yeah, I guess.
So, I mean, we always have kind of said that like software is really boring as you can go on this show.
The one that I actually want to hear your thoughts on now, because again, you live downtown, is NextServe. And if you don't remember NextServe, this was also one of your ideas. So it's this hyper-local gig economy where you need your garbage taken out. You need someone to pick up your laundry or change it over. You need, like whatever, like, but it's like somebody could pull up the app and there's 100 tasks in their apartment complex and they can go knock them all off. The reason that I feel like this is a great idea is because how much people effing love DoorDash. Like back then, DoorDash was like kind of up and coming. And I was like, oh, this is like kind of convenient. But it's like everyone and their dog spends money on DoorDash. And like, I'm somebody who's like, I'm too cheap to like, I just can't. It's easier for me to get in the car and go pick it up. But like most people, like, I'd rather just pay somebody to do it. And this kind of seems like the next iteration of that, of like, I don't want to have to take my trash down for $2. I could have someone do it. Absolutely. I don't want to have to go grab my mail, or not mail, but what I think we talked through a whole bunch of things of like, putting dog food or whatever. Like there's a handful of these things. It just seems like that's kind of the next step. I want to know your thoughts living in more of that world.
I mean, there's a reason that I had the idea to start with. And I mean, at this time, I wasn't living in the environment that I'm in now, where it's like every single person here, of course, is in a big building full of apartments. And also, I think kind of unlike Utah, it's like I actually don't know my neighbors almost at all. And I think that that's like a problem. But the thing, what I do know about my neighbors, because we all live in the same building, is like I know generally who they are, right? Like they're similar to me in a lot of ways, right? In that they're like, they would choose to live in this neighborhood. They can pay approximately like the rent that I can pay. It's like, we're all of a similar sort of class. These days I'm working from home 3 days a week. It's like, I could frankly change some laundry and like could make some money on it. And that wouldn't be so bad. But also it's just such a bummer to me that like we go out of town, and I'm sure there are other people in the building who have the same exact scenario, where it's like, gee, I can like have my friend come over and feed my cat once a day, or I can hire a rover and pay out the nose to have somebody come here and feed my cat. Like, if only I had a relationship with my neighbors, then it's like I could have that. To me, it's like if I could just pay a couple of dollars for some of these things that somebody could do in the building, that would be incredible. Not even to mention that it's like I have the same washing machine, the same dryer as the 6 people on my floor.
Right.
Like, if somebody came over and was like doing laundry in my apartment, they would know the setup. They would know where to look. They would know how it works. It's like we could all benefit from sort of like communal knowledge there. I don't know. I do not know, other than maybe like a liability concern, why the management companies for these buildings don't set something like this up. Because now at this point, I like we have like a resident forum or something where you can go and like post community stuff, but of course nobody uses it.
Well, and I think
it would be such a differentiator.
Yeah, and it's just that little bit of incentive, right? Right, like this is why Uber and DoorDash. It's like, yeah, you could go get it, but like for just a little bit, somebody can go get it for you, right? And like just for a little bit, they can like go to 2 spots or like go even faster, right? Like, and we are so much like this where it's like, oh man, it'd be really nice. And yeah, I think the economics don't make sense if somebody is, across town and they're like, well, I got to drive there. I got to put miles in my car or whatever. But like in an apartment where it's like, you just pull it up and it's like, yeah, there are people who work from home. There are people who like, their schedules are off, off track or whatever. And it's like, yeah, there's 15 things that need to be done today. And they're all, you bid it out. What's the cheapest somebody will come and change? It's like, yeah, I would pay $3 for someone to do this. And somebody claims it, you're like, sick. That's just totally worth it. If nobody picks it up, you put $5, you put $8, you put that, and then somebody picks it up, right? Like at a certain point, you're like, it's either not worth it for me, and then, yeah, you do call your friend or you do pay out the nose or like, but it only makes sense because you have been in the situation where if you saw a thing that was like, hey, for $5, will you do this? And it's 3 doors down. You're like, yeah, easiest
Sure.
$5 I could make.
Totally. Yeah, it's such a good idea. I don't really, it's sort of rises to the level where because it's such a good idea and it hasn't been done,
There's got to be some.
yeah, there's some like boogeyman that is the reason why it cannot be done. I have no idea what that would be, especially because like TaskRabbit is a thing. The gig economy is like alive and well. I don't know why this doesn't exist, but it doesn't. I live here. I've never heard of any app, any web, anything that you can have in your apartment building and say to your neighbors, like, here's something that I'd like for you to do. Never heard of it, never seen it. This is a huge opportunity.
Thieves, let us know. Go to GoStealThisIdea.com. Look through all the ideas because you've all listened to all 100 of our episodes. Let us know if there's an idea that you're like, this one, man, now that I saw the image of it, this has got some legs. Or like you guys were out of your minds for thinking that luxury portable bathrooms was a good idea.
I would say come up with a better name than NextServe. I don't know what.
Sure, yeah. That NextServe, a little weak. That's true.
Very weak. Very weak. I'm sure that I could have come up with something better.
There was one idea. Oh, what was it? There was one idea I did change the name on because I was like, it was right there. What was I thinking? Where
it's like intellectually dishonest.
It is a little bit
You've
cheating.
changed the reporting.
But there were a couple of these where I was like, we didn't really have a good name for it. We like couldn't really. Oh yeah. So it was your neighbor's. It was the neighbor tool shed, and we just called it Borrow.
Yeah, I think it was
which is a really
Borrow
dumb
Shed.
name. So I called it Wheelbarrow. Like,
wow, good job.
I
That's
know.
way
And I was
better.
like, this is the way better. And it's like community, all the tools in one space. You tap it. I was like, yeah, this is. I'm just changing this.
Way better.
Yeah, way
So
better.
funny.
Okay, Andre. Now, on to the main event. This is going to be the big idea where Andre brings the next new addition to GoStealThisIdea.com. I'm going to enter the theater of the mind. If you have any assets, send them over.
Oh, geez. Well, I'll share my screen. What's that?
That's good enough for me.
I would hope.
I'm ready.
Okay, don't look. That's why I can give you my sort of intro.
Okay. I will avert my eyes.
Okay. First of all, are you familiar with the global sensation since 1999, Color Me Mine?
Yes. In fact, I drove by the Color Me Mine on Valentine's Day. Me and my wife went to go to the mall for some reason. We were just kind of laughing at Color Me Mine was probably 150 people in there. There was 150 people in Carrabba's all on dates. It was kind of funny, but yeah.
Totally. So it actually turns out, having done the research now, that the craft movement, which I might have thought was like sort of petering out, is growing at an unprecedented rate. Color Me Mine is actually doing better than ever. I think we all know that the sort of like sip and paint, whatever these sort of
there's a
called.
handful of like painting classes, at 7 o'clock.
Sort of like traveling, maybe they have a night that they're at a specific restaurant or bar or whatever. Lots of concepts like that. I even read that there's this franchise that's exploding that is like a wood burning craft thing.
Oh, I can see
So they have a dedicated space, a dedicated studio. And I'll say just this last weekend in New York, we went to essentially the same thing, a pottery studio, similar to Color Me Mine. But what they had done is it was a cafe. So you could also get like a coffee while you were painting your plate or whatever.
Sure.
So where I've landed is, what if there was a place, a making place, that was a full service bar, cafe, and DIY studio where the making is as easy as ordering a drink. We've taken the friction out of crafting, no expensive tools to buy, no messy cleanup, no Pinterest fails, whether you're grabbing a kit from our menu or using our professional tool library for your own project, or just hanging at the bar with a beer while your partner crafts. We provide the space and the vibe. It's a high-energy social venue that flips from a family-friendly creative hub by day to a 21-plus crafts and cocktail lounge by night. I think that people, you said this yourself, which is analog, people crave real things. The dialogue in the community about how there's a need for like third spaces, places to be that aren't home and aren't work. I think that we need to get away from like, I'll take a 2-hour paint class, or, I'll go to Color Me Mine and it's like a whole event. We do our plate and then we leave, and move towards craft spaces where you can pick out a kit and do something. You can bring your own stuff and like just make use of space that you don't have at home. This is the idea. It's called Craft & Co., where we essentially take a sort of craft studio, bar, restaurant, cafe, put it all together, and you end up with a place where you can go with your friends, do some arts and crafts, learn from people who can teach you how to do some of this stuff with kits so that you can just like sort of sit down, pick it up and do it. I think it's very social. I think it's fun to sit down and craft with friends a little bit.
Totally.
I think we're all sort of like looking for things to sit down and do together that aren't just like look at each other, right? Like,
I really like the image on the H1 here is like a dad and his daughter, and they both have sneakers and they're like painting their sneakers.
Which that's kind of what I'm headed towards, which is like, I think that this act of sitting down and doing a craft together doesn't need to be, we're going to paint a plate or make a pot. It can be a lot of different things. Like
I can imagine somebody dazzling a jacket, ridging up something,
making candles, making crochet, lots of different things. I think that it would be an interesting alternative to like bowling or a
Oh man, the craft menu with craft beers.
I know, right? I mean, pretty cute.
That's pretty cute.
Pretty cute. I really think it's hard to see in your brain that I think we just need another thing for grown-ups and families to do together, where the expectation isn't like you're in and you're out, but the expectation is more like you sit and you hang.
Yeah, I've been thinking about the ideas that I'm going to bring on the next episode, and one of them really kind of centered around this problem that a lot of things have, which is like the unstructured thing to do that is fun and engaging is hard to do. There is a good amount of structured things. It's like, hey, the movie is at this time, or like we're going to go to an escape room at 10. It's like high attention. But this notion of like, let's just go over to Crafting Co. and see what they got. See what the new kit is this week, right? Or it's like, oh yeah, like, hey, come get a coffee with me. I'm gonna go, like, I'm working on fixing up my drapes, and they have a really great sewing machine there, and so it's like you rent, you use, there's probably like the hardest thing to navigate is going to be like, okay, like what's the cost to use the tools? Like, what's your overhead on crafts or whatever? Like, a lot of stuff can get a little bit messy.
Certainly there's work to do to figure out the commercials on it. But I do think that probably the easiest draw is just like access to tools, right? Which is like a sewing machine. To do a lot of crafts is sort of to buy a lot of tools. And wouldn't it be cool if there was one place that you could do any craft and have every tool and hang out?
I like the idea too. I think there are certainly craft stores and crafting groups that get together and it's like, we're going to quilt and we're going to do this, right? And this is kind of saying like, well, it's not that necessarily. Like, you could do that here, but think of it more like, yeah, you and your friends go and do this thing together. Like, yeah, go and have you ever painted shoes? I've never painted shoes before. Why don't you go paint some shoes? See if you like it, right? You have. It's kind of encouraging that, like, yeah, come and relax here. Yeah, get a drink. And like the thing that you're doing tonight is like, this is what's going to occupy your hands. And it's less of a formal instruction of like, all right, and this is how you do these kind of strokes, right? Like it's not that. But there are these like, hey, we've kind of curated some stuff for you. Like, yeah, you like a menu of craft things that like, we found that this is kind of a fun thing to make. It changes. And then, yeah, maybe you just want to like, maybe you do want to just like pop up an easel. And it's like, yeah, it's $20. Here's your easel. Use as much paint as you want, right? Like, and go paint a thing here. Yeah, there's a whole bunch. I like the idea of a whole bunch of inspirational books, like art books, table, like coffee table books, just filled with like, yeah, try that, do that, sure. Like, be inspired here, feel warm here.
I think there will, of course, be like some people who would want to use it sort of as a craft space for what they have in mind and like what they envision on their own independently. And I think a lot of people like would need to be told, here's the thing that you're making. But I think that the thing that you're making like can easily be a kit with a guide and maybe like people who know how to do it that work at Craft & Co. So you have like some support, but you're mostly like sort of hanging with your friends. I also think that there is like a great community play still, which is like you have knitting groups, you have embroidery groups, you have scrapbooking groups, you have groups that you can easily say, hey, like instead of doing this at the library, instead of doing this at your house, like
that's probably to make it a safer play. Like, I know that like a lot of card shops, like people who sell like Pokemon cards and stuff, like they will also have like a D&D or like a place for people to play games as part of it. It's like, yeah, you could do, we're not just selling games here or whatever. So I do think that like having a space that's big enough where it's like, it's out back and it's like, yeah, like we got room for that here if you want to do something that's like a little more, and yeah, you have access to some level of our equipment here. And these groups, you don't have to go find them. They exist,
Game shops might be like a pretty good proof of concept in that they do a similar function, right? Which is it's both a place where you can go and buy stuff, but also a place that has sort of decided that X number of square feet is the community space that you can just sort of use, or that they have events and things like that. And they make money, right? They sell things. It's foot traffic in and out. So it's like, even in the abstract, if you just were sort of a struggling cafe owner, you might say like, well, what if we, I don't know, brought in some painting kits and like started saying that this is like part of what we do here. And that might be something to try.
I think it actually scales pretty well where you could say like, the experience is the you could start with something pretty small and simple where like you find some cute kits, some craft that like kind of works, and you say like, that's what we're doing. I'm gonna buy a bunch of these, and everybody comes in. It's like, hey, this is available for you, and it's like people come and they say like, oh, it was so fun making that or whatever, and like, yeah, we should come back. Yeah, we're doing something different next week, And so I think you could kind of scale up to it. Yeah, as a coffee shop, like obviously you want to make it from nothing, like and really fit it out. Like, sure, that'd be fun too. But I do think, I think there's a way to convert a struggling coffee shop, struggling little sandwich shop. It's like, hey, like give people a reason to come here beyond the food and drink. That ends up making it like that ends up being the tipping point for them to stay. It's like, oh, I'm here. Well, yeah, let's get a sandwich, let's get some nachos or whatever, right? Like Craft & Co.
Check it out on the GoStealThisIdea.com website, where you can see
Check it out on
my
Go Steal This Idea.
landing page, see some pictures of what I imagine for this, see some of the business details.
I like it, Andre. Yet again, one of many great ideas added to the catalog. Thieves, what do we think about Craft & Co.? Did Andre strike gold yet again? We want to hear from you. Send us an email. Really, I mean, Instagram, if you know me or Andre, we have pretty public, especially me. You can reach out to me on any of our public social medias. But that's going to do it for the episode, I think, Andre.
I think so. Check out GoStealThisIdea.com. Find us on social media. Rate this podcast 5 stars wherever you happen to be finding it. Certainly, if you're a returning listener, let us know. We want to hear from you.
I got all the episodes on YouTube also. So if YouTube is your domain, you can just let that stuff run.
And easy to share with your friends.
It's been, Steal This Idea is more accessible than it ever has been. Yet no reason not to just listen and share and just enjoy.
Spam your friends, please.
All right, thieves. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Steal this idea.